Well, we challenged our guys this week to be honest with themselves last week, look at their performance, assess their performance, and then come out this week and get better. And I thought our guys had an unbelievable week of practice. I thought our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday may have been the best in 7 or 8 years. I was very impressed with the way they handled the practices, regardless of the opponent, who it was. We needed to practice better than we did the previous week. They did that. Was proud of the energy and enthusiasm the punt return spike kind of sparked us. Was really excited about that. The Muse continues to do that. That provides energy. I think it's kind of like basketball. When you play really good defense, it helps your offense. When you play really good special teams, it helps your offense. So we were able to do that today. A lot of guys contributed. Our goal is to have a lot of guys be able to contribute. And I was proud of that. So a lot of good there. A lot of things we can continue to work on, and we definitely need to do that.
Coach, what would you attribute this whole stretch to?
I don't know, today we took the ball and drove down the field. I mean, we had one play, a third down that we didn't execute, and that hurt us. And Carson fumbling is concerning because you can't have that. The ball got away from him. We harped on that last week when he made the guy miss and scored. You know, the ball came and was not secure. And we talked all week about, hey, if you're going to take off and run, you got to protect the ball, and then it comes out. You know, we missed the field goal, but outside of that, I think we had a 3 and out, and we had a drive stop after that. They were doing a very good job of clock control. They had a plan of shrinking the game. They did that. I would have done the same thing if I was them. They stayed in the huddle till the last 10 seconds. So I think in the first quarter we had 2 possessions, and that's rare when you get the ball first. So really, after the first drive, which we did good things, we only had 1 other possession that quarter.
What's the latest on Javon, and how did you think Dan and David played in this place?
Well, they both did some good things. They practice every day. They go with the 2s and 1s and roll in there. They do a good job. He has an ankle sprain, and the severity of it, I do not know. I know he could not return.
On Muse, obviously you could tell you guys go on a 31-point run right there. Just in the return game in particular, has he kind of answered the bell for you? I don't want to say y'all struggled the last couple of years when things were great, but just seems like a much more out of that part of the game.
Well, Ladd's been hurt. He's provided a spark. We trusted him last year. He was Ladd's backup. He got a couple returns. I think he returned a couple against Georgia Tech. He does it every day in practice. He's done it for 3 years and done a great job as a scout team guy. And when you go against the guys you go against in our place, you're going to get better. And you know, to be honest, I love Muse. He's done a great job. But there's 10 other guys out there that were elite at holding people up. You look across the board. There's Malachi Starks making blocks, Marcus Roseney making blocks. I mean, those are really good football players that are holding people up out there for their teammate.
Coach, when we asked you about the clock change rules, you thought it might take 3 to 5 plays. Do you think it might have impacted what went on in that first quarter today?
I don't know that statistically, but it's right now across the country it's taking more than that. It's taking away more plays than that. Nobody really knows why per se. Teams aren't going as fast intentionally. There's been a lot of margin of victories, which you could attribute that to that. Like at the end of the game there, they were just taking all the clock they could. They weren't trying to get the plays. So I think as you get into conference play, you're going to find out exactly how much it's taken away.
Kirby, I know Dylan played running back some in high school. Did y'all anticipate when y'all got to maybe use him in this kind of role that we saw today?
When we signed him?
Yeah.
No, we didn't sign him thinking that. He came to camp, worked out as a wide receiver. We liked him at wide receiver. He did some really good things. We played all wide receiver last year. There was never a thought of that. It's only come up with the situation we have at running back, and he's provided some explosiveness and showed that today.
Kirby, you guys had 3 interceptions in the second quarter, I think, talking about helping other units of the team. What does that do for, the offense when they get the ball back so fast? And I know some of them aren't necessarily, how you draw it up with all caroms off somebody, but it's opportunistic, I guess.
Yeah, lucky is what I call it. We didn't create those. I think Malachi's was a great example of, he had a play very similar to that the week before. He didn't make the play, and we talked about, hey Malachi, you gotta, those are the plays you gotta make if you're gonna get interceptions and turnovers. And he made an elite timing of the ball, jump, caught the ball highest point. Really, really great play. He forced that one. But the others were luck, and you're not always gonna be able to rely on luck. It's kind of like the one they got was a little bit luck off the tip ball there with Carson in the second half. So you can't count on those things, but I can say this: we didn't catch the tip ball last week, and we caught the tip balls this week, so we took advantage of the opportunity they gave us.
How do you assess Carson's first 2 games? Again, maybe the opposition's not to the level he's going to start seeing next week, but pretty pleased with what you've seen out of him in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm extremely pleased with what Carson's done. He's making good decisions with the ball. There were a couple times today that I thought that didn't occur in the last game where he got flushed or he got trouble and he got rid of the ball, and he can't make it dangerous when he does that. He's got to live for the next play and move on. But he's getting the ball out of his hands quick. He sees the field. He can tell you what coverage it was. He keeps his eyes down the field. Had a max blitz today. We cut a guy free. He stands in there and throws a touchdown to Marcus Roseman. Not a lot of quarterbacks can do that. So he does a good job playing that position.
Coach, what happened to Ingram Dawkins? Kind of how big of a blow is that to the depth of the offensive line right now?
Yeah, he's dealing with he's really been dealing with a foot injury the entire fall camp. So we shut him down, I think it was 2 weeks before camp, and probably 3 weeks into camp. I mean, I don't know how long it was, 4 or 5, that he didn't get to do a lot. He came back, he was functioning good, he felt good. He felt it a little bit in last week's game. And, you know, we've been advised to shut him down right now, and he'll be week to week, and we hope to get him back.
Kirby, how do you evaluate the run game, I guess, today and through the first couple weeks? It seems like it's been, up and down, maybe not as consistent as you'd like to see it.
Well, define the run game for me.
And the ball off.
Is that a run?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so for me, there's an extension of the run. There's these things they call RPOs and bubbles, and in football now, those are runs because they're run down calls. So we're running the ball, but we elect to throw it on the perimeter, and we get 5, 6 yards. So to us, that's a running play. To you, that's a pass play because that's what the stats say. But that's not the case. So if you say I define the running game as between the tackles and only between the tackles, I'm never pleased with that. I'm never happy with that. I'm only upset when the extension of the running game is poor and the running game that you're defining as a running game is poor. But I'm happy with the extension of the running game. That sets up things like the play that Oscar dealt. That's an extension of the running game because that comes off of a running play. So you gotta be good at something. And right now, we're better at that than we are the interior running.
Not just for Carson, but how big is Marcus Roseman Jack Saint's presence for this offense?
His confidence and just leadership is incredible. He pushes people. He's a fearless leader. He practices every day. He goes out on specialty. He starts on 2 units as a starting receiver. I don't know that you can find a receiver in the SEC that starts on 2 units and starts at receiver. He's passionate about that. So he gives us a confidence and aura about us that I think is very good.
Kirby, Jarvis Jones wasn't on the sideline today. Is there an explanation you can offer for his absence?
Yeah, he's dealing with a suspension. So he'll be back with us this week.
What has
So what games-
Dejon Edwards' progress been like, and how close is he to dressing out today?
Dejon?
Yeah.
I thought he did dress out. Did he not dress out?
He dressed
He did it.
Oh, he
He
did?
did.
Yeah. Close to
Dressed
playing
out.
today.
Close to playing?
How close is he to
If
getting
he
on the
needed him, he was
field?
gonna play.
How'd you feel like the block on the perimeter?
Up and down. We had a couple plays that we had a chance to be really explosive, and we didn't get it. And then there was a couple mistakes we made last week on the perimeter that we fixed. Like Rod had made a great block today on the perimeter. He missed that same block last week. We worked hard on it. He got it. Muse broke a tackle. It was only a 5, 6 yard play, but it was perimeter blocking that was good. We had several others that were not so good perimeter blocking. And if we're going to be good in the extension of the run game, we have to be good perimeter blocking.
Kirby, your team gave up 3 points today. Y'all created 3 turnovers. Just what did you see that they could maybe improve on?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, we're not getting balls out. You know what I mean? We're not getting challenged outside of the perimeter. We had several times that we're soft on the run. If they run for 4 or 5 yards with their size offensive lineman and our size defensive lineman, they won. And they had several of those. So we're still not playing the run defensively to the standard or my expectation of what an SEC upper caliber defense should do. I mean, we're just not doing that. I think you get caught up in stats, you get caught up in outcomes. I'm all about, did we do it right all the time? And if we didn't do it right all the time, then why didn't we?
Saw Takeem make some plays. Just how do you feel like he's fit in this defense a couple games into this season?
I'm proud of him. He's a leader. He was a captain today. He's very vocal on the sideline. He challenges people to practice the right way, and he does it himself. So I like the way he carries himself.
How would you maybe assess Zori and Savior or Sori's progression over the last couple of years, and then today get 3 tackles?
Yeah, Sori he's been a flash player, man. He shows great ability, and then he'll have a mental situation where he might miss something. And if we can take those out, he can play at a high level. We need him to be a third. We gotta find a rotating backer with smile and pop for when we're playing 4 quarters. And right now, we got some battles going on. Raylan's coming back. He's coming back off his injury. He's not quite 100%. C.J. Allen's growing up, and Sorey's in that mix. And he's got to play with what I call starter consistency to be able to get in that rotation.
Kirby, I'm curious, why do you believe you had the best practices Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you've seen?
We got some great kids, some unbelievable leaders. You know, everybody wants to talk about talent, stars, and all that. I just, it's hard to measure. I don't know how talented we are, but I know this. We got kids that care. They were bothered by the fact last week we didn't have our best practices. They had a really physical Tuesday practice, a great energy on Wednesday, and a good focus on Thursday. So we got better. Like we got to go against ourselves, and it's a pretty good opponent when you get to do that.
No Lad McConkey, is it more the same with him with that back injury still?
Yeah, it's still bothering him, and we're fighting to get him back. And I know he's as frustrated as anybody because he certainly wants to get back.
What about Austin Blaston?
He's dealing with a high ankle sprain that occurred in practice, so he's not available. No, I'm sorry, it was MCL, not high ankle sprain, but he's MCL, and hopeful to get him back. I think it might be next week or the following week to get him back.
Coach, when we talked to Tyke about the interception, he mentioned that just before that, with that timeout, that Coach Schumann kind of notified them of what might be coming. And that's what ended up happening. I'm curious how often that happens as a coordinator.
If you're a good one, a lot. You know, if you can predict it, call it, understand it, know what the team's doing. I think that's part of the gamesmanship of being a coach. You're trying to anticipate what the other people are doing, and you gotta be right 20-30% of the time, and then when your 70's off, you still gotta go and function. You can't have big misses. And Glenn does a great job. He prepares really hard. He watches tape. He can tell you every tendency they have. And good teams, you know, you don't get tendencies. You gotta play off what they do. But that coaching staff does a great job. Mark Stoops said it last week after the game. They do a tremendous job offensively of controlling the clock, short passing game, methodical. They'll drive the game. They'll drive the ball down the field on you. If they don't turn it over, they're gonna have a great year. I mean, they gave us 2 turnovers, really. We kind of earned 1.
What's been the biggest difference in leadership style between Carson Beck and Stetson?
I don't know. Neither one of them were very vocal. They don't go command. They don't get all upset and rant and rave in a room or get up and give rah-rah speeches. They're who they are. They're very comfortable in their own skin. Carson's leadership kind of comes through his calmness. I mean, everybody feels like, man, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy's smart. This guy knows protections. This guy knows where to go with the ball. If we call a play, he can recite it, whether it's 3 words or 20 words. He's very bright and a good leader.
Kirby, regarding Jarvis Spencer, do you believe that you've put in policies and structures in place that this won't be an issue anymore?
You know, I believe if I put policies and structures in place, that it won't be an issue. I don't know that a policy or structure will ever prevent what is prevalent all across America. You know what I mean? But certainly that's our goal.
Kirby, with the way that the defense and special teams picked up the offense when they were a little bit slow in the first quarter, how important is it for them to be able to provide that spark to the team when the offense wasn't exactly clicking at all in the first quarter?
Well, it's team football. You know, we always say complementary football, but we want to be really good at special teams. I mean, everybody does, right? So we're not doing something different that they're not doing. We put our best players on it. We go out there and coach the hell out of special teams, and we try to be elite in special teams. You know, like our only goal right now is to be elite at getting better. Like that's the competition. You guys are trying to observe and give input on what you see. What I'm trying to do is get elite at getting better. So where do you do that? Practice. You know, so like we're trying to get way better at special teams. We're trying to get way better at defense, and we're trying to get way better at offense. And sometimes you get the chance to see that out there, and sometimes you don't, because the window is small compared to practice.
I think Dalen had the deflection on that Tyke interception. Just what have you seen from Dalen so far?
He's getting a little more confidence. I thought he played the fade ball there on 3rd down. They tried to throw, played it better than he did the week before. He and Julian are both doing a good job. They're competing. A.J. Harris is coming on, playing good. Nyla made a good play today. So we're going to continue to grow those guys, and we're going to need them all before it's over.
Kirby, how much is offensive identity, what you want to be on offense, kind of something you sit down and decide in the offseason? How much is just what develops when you start playing games?
Well, I think it's neither. I think it's what you have. So what you have in the offseason might not be what you have in the season, which is what we're learning right now. Because, you know, in spring, we had Dejan, we had Kendall healthy, and right now, we haven't had that, you know. So, I think you're always, identity offense comes off what you have. Like, who are my players? Who are the tight ends? Are the tight ends the guy? The receivers the guy? Who are the guys that you can get to touch the ball? What we've been really good at is spreading the ball around. I think we did that again today. You know, we're not sitting there throwing it to one guy all the time. We're throwing the ball to a lot of guys. And we have ways to get touches to guys. And a lot of what we do offensively is dictated by where the defense is. If it's this look, we're doing this. If it's this look, we're doing that. And you take what they give you. So I don't know if that answers your question.
What was Kristen's injury and would he have been able to come
I
in if
don't
it was?
know. I didn't ever find that out. I went over there to check on him, and actually never heard him. So I don't know. I thought it was his knee, but I don't know if he's cramping or his knee. I don't know.
What kind of confidence is Robert Robinson getting to good games with him?
I thought he made some people miss today. That's a trait. The number one trait of a running back is secure the ball, make people miss. Can you secure the ball and can you make people miss? And that's what we need out of that position. I thought he had a couple times a day. He's getting a little more confidence. He bounced the ball out. He made some guys miss. He made a cut on the touchdown run. I'd like to see him run behind his pads a little better for a big man, but he did some nice things.
Kirby, the defensive
Looking
players.
ahead to next week, Georgia and South Carolina have played each other for 30 years in a row. Next year, they're not on the schedule for you guys. So what are your thoughts on the future scheduling of Georgia and South Carolina games, knowing how much it means to people in the two-state, and your thoughts on the rivalry in general?
I'm looking forward to the rivalry. I mean, I think it's a great game. It's one of the, you know, the big ones for us every year because it's a state that's so close to us, geographically. But as far as the scheduling, it's the last thing on my mind. You know, I know you guys make a big deal about it and the passion of the fans, but for me, I'm worried about who we play next.
A couple of the defensive players said they've been happy with how the defense is flying around so far and the energy through 2 weeks. Is there a way you evaluate that as a coach? Just overall, what have your thoughts been on that kind of front?
I don't think we've really been tested. You know, I think it's, if anything, I would say I was disappointed in the adjustments we made. The guys didn't carry those adjustments over. So Coach Schumann comes over and says, hey, next time they do this, this is what we want to do. And it's like the little game memory. When you pick the little card up and you see the cherries, and you go over here and you pick the little card up, and then you got to put it in. You got to remember what was where. Like, what was that? Where was that at? So we got guys that can't play memory good because we tell them on the sideline, this is what we want you to do when this happens. And then they go out there and they don't do it. And then they give up a 9-yard play. And everybody goes, oh, golly, man, Ball State got 9 yards on the Georgia defense, and make a big deal about it. And we just had a teaching session over what you should have done and you didn't do. So we have to play memory better if we're going to be any good at defense.
Let's take 2 more questions.
What is it about Gabe Harris that's earned snaps through a position change?
Sorry, what?
Gabe Harris, what has helped him earn as many snaps as he's gotten through the position change?
Position change.
From outside linebacker to defensive line? No?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing both. He's not a wholesale defensive lineman. With Ty being injured, we've repped him there more, but there is no difference in that position when we're in our 4 down front. So he's a defensive end 50-60% of the time. But he's different sometimes when we're in an odd front. But as far as playing more, that has to do with the score right now because we play those guys based on can they play winning football. And right now, when we get a lead, we want to get him. He plays really hard. Like he goes on a scout team and he plays really hard. He has a high motor, and we want to reward that high motor with playing time. But he's got to earn our trust to play what I call meaningful minutes.
Kirby, how's Kendall now in terms of, is he closer to 100% or?
I don't know that. I think you'd have to ask Kendall that. I thought that he was much better this week. His stamina was better. His energy was better. I don't know. I can't sit here and say that he was 100%, 95%, but he was in better shape, and I know he felt a lot better coming into the game.
Thank you.